I saw a tweet by a Twitter user named FYP Terrorist that went, "It's really funny that Eirika keeps getting shit for the last 20 years for giving Lyon the Sacred Stone when every lord before her would have fallen for the same thing, and then they made a tier list of how likely a lord would be to fall for giving Lyon the stone." I thought that was such a funny concept, I wanted to make a video about it. So here we are.
There is no meme. This is just a threat.
So, let's just get right into it. The rules here are simple. We have to imagine if the lords were in Eirika's shoes, would they do what she did? Now, what exactly were Eirika's shoes? Like size 8 or something? That wasn't funny. Alright. So, Eirika, her best friend, her besto friendo, that's best friend in Spanish, Lyon. She has been told he is possessed by Satan. And she is clearly told, hey, you can't undo this. Satan has him by the soul, he's not letting go. But Eirika, because she believes in her best friend, ignores this advice and gives him the magical sacred stone, and then is tricked. So, very simple. We need to imagine every lord as seeing their best friend, whoever their own Lyon is. Everyone has a Lyon in their life. And would they fall for it? And I have it separated by 4 categories. Do it eagerly, do it after thinking, don't do it after thinking, and wouldn't even entertain the thought at all. And I've gathered the lords. So, first up, Marth. Marth, we have actually a pretty good comparison point with Hardin. Now, while Hardin was not Marth's best friend, Hardin was still someone that Marth loved and cared about, was a good friend of his after the war in the first game. And once Hardin got possessed, Marth did want to save him. When Gateau was talking about the star spheres and all the magic crap, Marth's like, could one of them save Hardin? And Gateau's like, maybe. But when it came down to it, Marth did kill Hardin. We know he has that dog in him. So, because of that, I think that Marth would not fall for it. If Hardin or anyone else close to him came up and said, hey, if you give me the star sphere, I'll be saved, and Gateau told him, that's not gonna work, Chief, I think Marth would feel bad about it, but I think Marth would have the presence of mind to not do it. He would listen to Gateau, Jagan, Malleus, I always forget the name of his tactician in the First War. Cornelius. No, Cornelius is his father. Anyways, I don't think Marth would fall for it. He might come close, but I think he would trust in the advice of the wise old men around him. Next up is Alm. I don't think Alm would fall for it at all. Like, he very much cares about his friends, about Tobin, about Gray, about Celica, Faye, Cliff, etc. But Alm is also... what's the right word for this? He's very focused. If someone came to him possessed and said, hey, you can save me, but he was warned, hey man, that's not gonna work, I think Alm would understand. So I'm gonna go with he wouldn't entertain the thought. If he's told clearly that it's not gonna work, Alm's gonna be really mad about it. He's not gonna get sad, he's gonna get mad. And also sad, no, he will cry. But I don't think he would fall for it. I think Alm has enough, I don't want to say detachment, because that's not entirely true. I think he would be able to grasp the situation enough to put his emotions aside and do what needs to be done. I do not think Alm would fall for the silly little guy. Celica, meanwhile, we have a not quite a perfect frame, actually. What happens with Jeddah is not the same thing. She falls for Jeddah's lies, not even necessarily because she believes them, but because she doesn't really have a choice. Jeddah went, hey, God is dead, and she went, fuck. This isn't quite the same thing. But if one of her best friends, May or Bowie, was taken over by Duma, I still think she would do whatever it takes to save them. I am going to put Celica and do it without a second thought. Celica's kindness is kind of her biggest trait. Like, yeah, sure, when she's against the pirates or the bandits, she fights back immediately. But she does care about people, sometimes too much. So I think that Celica would hand over a proverbial Lyon, the stone, without much hesitation. Given that, like, Alm is kind of supposed to be the representation of Duma, strong, brave, but emotionally and, like, weak. Not emotionally weak, but, like, not kind. But meanwhile, Celica is the embodiment of Mila. So kind, so sweet, so generous to the people around her, to a fault. I think putting them at the opposite dichotomy. I don't even think that's the right way to use that word, but who cares? I think that's what would happen. Sigurd is an interesting one. The closest point of comparison for him is Edelgard. He was forced to fight a dear friend of his, one of his two best friends in the whole world, and Sigurd, he did it, but he did not like doing it. So if a friend came up to him, possessed in some nature, and Oife or anyone else told him, hey man, you can't save that person, they're fucked. I think Sigurd would operate on the same level as Marth. He would not feel good about it. Because in the Edelgard example, the entire time, Edelgard's like, what the fuck are you doing in my country? Sigurd's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Shit's fucked. I think Sigurd has the heart to want to save a friend. But I think he wouldn't... Sigurd does stupid things the entire game. But most of his stupid things are done in hindsight. He doesn't really do anything stupid in the moment. And I think this would be a similar case of this. Edelgard or Quan would come up with some, I don't know, Lopterian dark magic. And go, yeah. And he would be like, damn. And then stab them. So, I'm gonna put Sigurd, would think about it, wouldn't do it. Seliph, meanwhile, is a bit more of a bleeding heart than his father. It's true, Julius is a pretty close comparison, but Seliph also didn't know Julius. If it was someone that he knew, if, like, it was Larcey, Ulster, Shannon, Oife, like, one of them came up to him possessed. I mean, I guess Julia's the same way, but and he can kill Julia. It was fucked up, but he can do it. And they said, hey man, please, save us. If you give us the thing, you'll save us. I actually think Seliph would fall for it. I think, because he, like, doesn't like what Lyon tells him during the game either, when he's in Thracia, and Seliph's like, I don't like killing these Thracians, and Lyon tells him to grow the fuck up. He's not happy about it. Like, he can disagree with the advice of people around him. I think Seliph would think about it, but he would give his Lyon the stone. I think Seliph would have the heart necessary to fall for that. Leaf is interesting. How would he handle it? Alright. Who's the closest comparison point for a Lyon for him? Nana? Maybe? We do kind of see the possession happen in FE5 with Marita, but he kind of plays absolutely no part in saving her or ever fighting her while she's possessed. That's entirely Evail, Galzus, and Sias. If he was in the arena instead of Evail, and Marita was trying to kill him, and Marita said, hey, okay, it's not quite the same, alright? These are like loose comparisons. I want to make that clear. There is no exact comparison for Lyon. The way that he's possessed is unique to him. But if Marita said, hey, I know I've been doing a lot of evil sword stuff, but if you give me, you know, the light brand, I'll be okay. And we know that we know that Leaf acts impulsively on the whims of his heart. Because that's the entire reason his rebellion fails, is because he wants to invade... what's the name of Miranda's country? He wants to take... I'm blanking on the name of it. I'm a fake Fire Emblem 5 fan. But anyways, Leon, God, just because their names start with an L. Leaf is prone to doing something really stupid while ignoring the advice of people around him because it's what his heart wants. It's the entire problem at the crux of Fire Emblem 5. So I'm gonna say, Leaf would hand over the stone without a second thought. When Leaf believes in his heart that he's doing the right thing, he will not listen to reason, he will do it. So I think Leaf would fall for this shit easily. Roy is interesting. I'm calling all of them interesting. This is because I don't own a thesaurus, so I'm using the same word. Aiden is kind of similar. Kind of. He's told, hey man, you need to kill Aiden. But then he's like, no, I'm gonna find a way to save her. So if someone that Roy loves, like Lilina, comes up and says, hey, you gotta kill me. No, second. Screw this up. Like, and is told by someone, hey, you gotta kill Lilina. She's evil now. I don't think Roy would listen to it. If he was told that maybe there's a way, if he believed in his heart of hearts, that he would do it, that he could save them, I think Roy would fall for it. He would not do it immediately, because Roy does value the input of his advisors. It's just very funny that that advisor is Merlinus. But he's also shown that he's willing to ignore Merlinus. As we all should, really. So... I'm gonna say Roy would think it over, but he would fall for it. I think he would give Lina the stone, because he does not want to kill someone that he knows is good at heart. Aiden proved that. He could save Aiden. Leon, I mean, he's just an innocent little guy, but Leon's not quite savable. So yeah, I think Roy would fall for it. After some thought, but he would do it. Lynn's interesting. I'm not even doing a bit anymore. God, I need to diversify my vocabulary. Anyways. Lynn. I don't think... Nothing like this ever happens to Lynn. We don't have a good comparison, because all of Lynn's friends are dead by the start of the game. Except Florina. So if Florina came up to Lynn and said, hey, if you give me, I don't know, the Fire Emblem, I can save myself. And then Mark went, I wouldn't do that. What would Lynn do? Lynn is very kind. She cares a lot about her friends and loved ones. But would she fall for a trap like that? That's the thing. I'm gonna say yes. But she'd think about it. I think Lynn does possess the kindness in her heart that would make you fall for such a trick. She would have enough sense to maybe think about it, but I do believe her kindness would win out in the end, and she would fall for Lyon Lena. I just realized that's the same joke, because Lelina and Florina both end in him. Anyways. Yeah, that one's a little tougher. You could tell me that you don't think Lynn would fall for it, and I could kind of agree. I don't think she would do either or without hesitation, but I think she would ultimately be kind and give in. But, up to debate. I'm willing to be convinced on that one if someone wants to tell me that Lynn would not fall for an evil stone with a purple person. Interesting as Eliwood. Alright. He would do it without hesitation. Eliwood is, like, a bit more impulsive than Lynn. Like, there were a few scenes in the story where he kind of just goes forward against his better judgment. Going off on the Queen of Bern, for example. I think if Hector was possessed by a mysterious rock and told him if you give him another mysterious rock, that he can save himself, and Marcus went, you shouldn't do that, Eliwood would do it. He would just do it. That's his boy. That's his best friend. He would absolutely fall for it. Eliwood, you need a certain level of kindness and also impulsiveness to fall for this trick. And I think Eliwood has both of those. You can just look at the giant stab wound in Ninian's chest to understand whether or not he would be impulsive enough to do this. So yeah, Eliwood would fall for the Lyon trick. I'm very positive on that. Hector definitely has Hector also would. Alright? He is just, like, the whole thing about Hector is you look at him and you think, wow, Eliwood's so kind and sweet, and Hector is a douche-ho. But then, when you get the two of them together and, like, learn more about them, you realize Eliwood can be a bit more passionate and brash than he might first seem, whereas Hector can also be a bit sweeter and kinder than he at first seems. You know, the whole yin and yang, red oni, blue oni has been done a million times. Hector, if Eliwood came up to him and said, hey man, I need the rock, and Oswin tells him, you gotta kill him, that's not gonna work, Hector would tell Oswin to sit on the sharp end of his lance and give Eliwood the stone. Hector cares too much. The whole Armand's curse, while it doesn't make any fucking sense with FE6 in consideration, shows that Hector will forego any consequences to protect the people he holds dear. He does not give a rat's ass about consequences in the manner of love and friendship. He would fall for the stone, not even because he's stupid, because he's not, but because he loves too much. That's what I think about Hector. Alright, Eirika's difficult. Because on the one hand, we've shown that when someone pushes her to a point, she will fight back. When she realizes that Novala is pure evil, she's like, there's no room in my kindness for you, I will kill you. Or when Glenn comes up to attack her, she's like, if you force my hand, I'll fucking kill you. When it matters the most, Eirika will fight back. So she has the spine to resist it. On the other hand, she literally gave him the stone. So, with these two things into consideration, I think Eirika would give him the stone. I could be wrong on that. But I'm gonna tentatively put her there. I can be convinced. I don't feel like doing the same bit with Ephraim. I'm just going to put him and wouldn't entertain the thought at all and move on. Ike. That's hard. Ike does care about the Grail mercenaries a lot. So we have, like, dear loved ones that could come to him, possessed by, in his universe, the medallion. Like, he could feasibly come into a scenario like this. What I think makes Ike interesting is he trusts in his advisors, I think, more than any other character on this list. Ike truly respects Soren and Titania. So if they both tell him, yeah, let's just pick someone. Boyd can't be saved. He is too far possessed by the devil. I think Ike would listen to them. I do think Ike would entertain the thought. Actually, would he even? He would definitely feel bad. Like, he would not be able to heartlessly kill a friend. None of these characters would. But I think if this is more so on the strength of his bond with his advisors. But if Titania and Soren both told him, no, you have to kill this guy, Ike would trust them. Ike would listen to them. I think he wouldn't even entertain the thought. Micaia is... I'm about to fucking say interesting again. Micaia is actually very fascinating, because we have some strong arguments for a lot of cases here. For example, Peleus. She's willing to kill him. Sure, in repeat playthroughs you can choose to spare him, but if she needs to kill a friend, she can. She'll be upset by it, but she can. But there's also the bit when she dumps the oil on Benyon, and Soth getting grabbed by Tabarn is enough for her to break. So we know if her loved one, in her case Soth, is in danger, she will throw away the smart thing to save him. Because if she actually set Soniki and all of Benyon's army on fire, who knows how that would have gone. She could have fucking won that war. Oh, maybe not. Tabarn has really good stats. But we know she loves enough that she would buckle. So I think, and I truly believe, Micaia would think it over, but she would do it. Micaia would fall for the Lyon trick. If it's Soth. If it's anyone other than Soth, I don't know. But you know, if it was anyone other than Lyon, Eirika might not have fallen for it. So if it's someone she truly loves and truly cares about, I think Micaia would go against her better judgment and fall for that shit. Crom would fucking give it to him and then also give him like a $50 Waffle House gift card. Crom 100% would fall for, and literally, when he is killed by his possessed friend, the thing he thinks to do with his dying breath is go, hey man, this isn't you, and I understand that. Crom he might have more love in his heart than anyone on this list. Like, actually, if we were love scaling the Fire Emblem Lords, Crom would be universal level. I have no doubt in my mind. Like, Frederick, he doesn't listen to Frederick anyway. The entire first bit of the game is Frederick going, you shouldn't trust this random-ass bum we found on the ground, and Crom doesn't care. Crom would fall for the Lyon trick every single time, and I'm not even fully convinced it would have to be someone he likes that much. Vake could be possessed, and he would still do this. So, perfect. Lucina is also interesting. I think she wouldn't fall for it, but she would really think about it. The closest comparison we have to some kind of possession shit for Lucina is when they realize that Robin is gonna be Grima, and like, holy shit, that's a problem. She just goes to kill them. Like, that is a scene that happens in Awakening. She is ready to kill. And sure, she doesn't because Crom intervenes, and the way that the cutscene is going, it's kind of implying that Lucina might not have the fucking willpower to do it. Yeah, I think she might. So because of that, I think if she was told, hey, you gotta kill this person, I think she would. I think she would listen to... Who the fuck is her second in command? Severa, I think? And by God, Severa would tell her to kill someone. I think Lucina would think about it, but ultimately she would not fall for the Lyon trick. I think she has the strength of will to not fall for it, especially if she's told it's futile. Corin! Okay, come on now. Corin absolutely would. She falls for fucking Anthony. Like, Corin has too much love in their heart. Much like Crom. Corin just does what they think is right. I'm kind of just talking over Crom because, well, obviously Corin and Crom are two different characters. In this, they're the same character. A heart that is full of love. They would fall for this. Alright, they would. They just absolutely would. There's no doubt in my mind. The Three Houses Lords. I think Edelgard wouldn't even think about it. If someone came up to them after being this... If she was told by a reliable source like Hubert, hey, this person you love, let's shank, Ferdinand. Ferdinand is now the devil. We need to kill him. Edelgard would... She wouldn't feel good about it, but she would just go, alright, you gotta do what you gotta yabba dabba do. And she would chop his head off. She's not heartless, but she does have a good head on her shoulders, and I think she would not fall for the trick. She would not be so easily swayed by the promise of love. Dimitri! Dimitri's tough. Because, well, let's think about what he does in-game, alright? He gets betrayed by someone he thought was close to him. And then he goes sicko mode for a while. So at what point in the story would Dimitri be faced with this dilemma? I mean, he does entertain a parlay with Edelgard, if I'm remembering correctly. Dimitri's willing to hear Edelgard out during the war. Like, nothing comes of it. But he's not, like... He's willing to hear people out. But if Dudu was possessed by a mysterious rock, which he kind of actually is when he becomes a demonic beast, like, that's kind of like... Not quite the same mysterious rock. If Dudu came up to him, evil as shit, but, like, looked like Dudu and said, Your Highness, if you give me a rock, I will be saved. And Gilbert goes, that's not gonna work. I think Dimitri wouldn't fall for it either. I could see him falling for it, though. That's one where if you told me I think Dimitri would give up a rock, I could agree. It's like Lynn. But I think Dimitri wouldn't fall for the act. I think he would have the strength of will to understand that his friend is gone. It would hurt. He might have another sicko mode arc. But as you'll remember, when Dimitri was going through his character development, he was killing everything. So, yeah. I think he'll fight back. Claude, I think, would try to find a way. Claude's a schemer. Claude's a dubious young man up to mischief. So I think he would definitely try to find a way to save his friend. But if he's clearly told by, I don't know, Judith, Claude would go, alright, I'm gonna have to put an arrow between your eyes. And he would say some witty one-liner, but he would do it. Alright, like, he would have the knowledge to not give away his precious magic rock and kill whoever his friend was. Alright, I think he would piece that together. He has very good emotional and literal intelligence. I think Claude wouldn't do it. And then that leaves the Divine Dragon. Fuck. Would Alir fall for it? Yeah, okay, I think they would, alright? Like, let's make that clear. Alir would fall for it. Would they even think about it? Nah, I don't think they would. I think Alir does really care about everyone. They're a very sweet person. And even if Vander tells them, like, oh, no, you can't do that, they'll do it. I think Alir just loves too much. Yeah. Then again, no, yeah. I don't know if he's quite the same kind of lover as Corin or Crom, but I think they're all cut from similar cloth in that regard. But yeah, I could see a lot of arguments on this list. I could see some people thinking one direction or another. But this is what I'm going to go with. I do think most of the lords would fall for the same thing if put in Eirika's shoes, but I think a surprising number of them wouldn't. I think a lot of Fire Emblem lords are a bit more willing to fight back. They're not all just blind goody two-shoes. This is actually really interesting. Yeah. I really need to learn how to end videos.